From Screen Junkie Studios in the heart of Los Angeles, this is Screen Junkies Movie Fights. Now your host, Andy Signore.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Movie Fights. We are here to talk about some amazing topics including best movie Alien, what 80s movie deserves a remake, and what iconic character should never be recast, best opening shot. We're trying some fun topics here. No comic book stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
We're not doing it this time. See, sometimes we don't do it. We actually tried. We were going to do rank Doctor Strange in the MCU, and you all said the exact same place.
Right in the middle.
But I'm excited. It's going to be a fun fight. If you're watching live, you can hashtag Movie Fights Live on Twitter. Dan will be policing that. Dan Murrell, I'm going to you first.
Hi.
You'll be policing hashtag Movie Fights Live, and our fans will be excited. There's some big news I'm teasing now to watch at the end, so stay tuned. And Dan, next to you, I'm excited to have a fan on the fan cam. Alina Lewis. Welcome, Alina. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Yes,
thank you.
Alina, welcome. You excited to be here?
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Cool. Awesome. You might need to help me throughout this fight because I got three amazing fighters. So make sure you're listening for the arguments, and I'll come to you, okay?
Okay.
Great. Let's meet these amazing panelists. First up, he's back. He's writer, comedian, host of Pop Trigger on the Young Turks. It's Mr. Brett Ehrlich.
Hi, thank you for having me back.
Hey, dude. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah?
I got back from Bangkok a couple days ago, and I have no idea what time it is.
Oh, yeah.
Just a weird jet
Yeah, it's
laggy-
weird. There was no news or anything while you were gone.
No.
Cool.
No.
We're not going to talk about that. All
Did
fun.
I miss anything?
Yes.
This is a fun fight.
Yay.
Next up, he's back. Did you win last time?
No, I got
you
to
were
the
close.
finals. I was this close.
He's a writer and producer here at Screen Junkies. We love him. Lon Harris, welcome back,
Hey,
sir.
well, thank you. Great to be back. Yeah, it was down to the very last question, me and Trisha Hirschberger, and then she said she could fight an alien, and everybody believed her more than that I could fight a predator.
Yes, it's true. That's
right.
strange.
I think the public is correct about that.
Next up, we're so happy to have her. She's a first-time fighter and a writer over at Black Girl Nerds. It's Jacqueline Coley.
Hi. Well, I'm really excited to be here. It's totally stoked.
Yes, happy to have you here. You're going to do great, I'm sure. And all three of you are going to do great because we have some amazing topics. Any questions before we begin?
Really great topics. I really loved the
This
topics.
is a fun one. What you see, we go to the fans and we try and find some good ones.
Yeah.
Sometimes the news is terrible, so we got to go in deeper and find. I just meant pop culture news this week was terrible. There wasn't much information, so we had to dig deep, and I think we found some. Let's do it, shall we?
Come on, let's get nuts. I want to fight you.
You want to fight? Let him fight.
You stop this fight, I'll kill you. I could do this all day.
Wow. Let's do this. Round one. This comes in from Ramon Trevino on Twitter, who asks, the Arrival is hitting theaters, so we want to know, what is the best movie Alien? There's so many to pick from, and we're going to see what you guys picked. We're starting with you, Brett. Best movie Alien.
So there are a lot of aliens out there, and when you think about them, you summon like an image of what it looks like. And you've got the ones that you guys are gonna say, I'm sure, but there's one that is totally, totally different from the others in a way that makes it so much more interesting and creative than the others, and that's The Thing. The Thing from John Carpenter is from the John Carpenter film is one that you can't really pin it down. And for every image you're able to summon from the ones I'm sure you two will mention, this one has forms that take on 10, 20, 30 different ones that are more terrifying. I'd say other aliens out there are scary. This one is absolutely terrifying because you can't pin it down.
Okay, we'll learn more. Lon, what's your pick?
So the topic's best movie alien, and interestingly, people I think always jump to evil alien invasion type aliens, but I think we're overlooking clearly the best alien, Superman. He is an alien. He's from the planet Krypton, but he's here to help humanity. He's here to guide humanity. He's a natural leader. And if you think about it, no matter what definition of best you want to use, I think it's clear that Superman hits that definition. Is he the most powerful alien on the list? Of course, he's one of the most powerful beings in the universe. Does he have a lot of cool abilities and extraterrestrial powers? Of course he does. He's got heat vision, he's got cold breath, he's super strong, he can fly, the Earth's yellow sun is doing all that stuff for him. Plus, does he have awesome alien technology? Of course he does. Krypton was filled with awesome alien technology. If you go back to the 70s films, he's got power magic crystals, he's got a skin-tight suit that was his blanket that came with him that gives him powers, he's got artificial intelligence on this ship. He's got holograms. I mean, we're talking about he hits every single alien checkmark, but rather than just being a beast or a monster or a menace, he's here to help us. He's here to serve us. He's here to guide us. He's here to represent what it means to be an American. Superman is the best alien.
Got it.
You said he...
Jacqueline.
Yeah, he represents what it is to be American, but you're putting him up for best alien. Total contradiction, but we'll get there in a minute. So the person that I want to... the person that I want to go ahead and say, or the alien I want to go ahead and use, is the one that they actually named a film after, and that's Aliens with Sigourney Weaver. It is by far the best example that you can find for an actual alien that you want to give as an example. There are so many scenes in that movie, and pretty much any installment that you can call to that are terrifying. They were new, they were inventive, and the special effects for it, there's a reason why people still talk about the special effects that were so cutting edge at the time, and they still hold up to this day. From the minute it's like popping out of like John Hurt till the end when you have the huge fight with Sigourney Weaver, you're totally engrossed with how awesome the alien looks. And this was the first film that kind of illustrated how scary space could be because of how they did that alien and everything they put onto it.
All right, we got the Thing, we got the Xenomorph, and we got Superman. Fight it out, guys.
Okay, so the Xenomorph jumps out of your body. And that's that one creative, cool, extra thing that it does. And that's awesome. But if you look at the Thing, it also has a scene like that I think is better. Because not only it opens up when the guy's trying to shock and come back, bring the person back to life, it opens up, eats them, and not only that, it doesn't just kill the person, it absorbs every possible trait of what it could embody, and then some, and improvise it. So you're not dead afterward, suddenly you're the Thing. We saw that crazy face, and both
No, if you want to talk about best horror movie, yes, you can talk about the Thing, because that's a scary monster,
I agree,
but
it's
that's
the best.
not,
Michael,
that's,
but
sorry, yeah, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about best alien, and its alien aspect of that is not what makes it a great film. It's the fact that it's a horror film.
Neither of your aliens have any discernible personality whatsoever. I mean, we don't even know the nature of the Thing. It could be a bacteria. It could be a virus. You're saying a bacteria
it has no discernible
is more,
nature.
I mean, no, it's like a personality.
Personality.
It has a nature. Kill everything.
I
It
didn't
doesn't
say
have a
this is
personality.
like the alien that you need to be friends with.
Well,
This is
we're
the alien. What do you think of when you think of aliens? It's
best
scary.
alien doesn't have to have any kind of personality. It's just a remorseless eating machine. I mean, it doesn't even want to kill necessarily. It just is. It just exists.
Lon, your alien is allergic to a rock.
Yes, thank you.
It's allergic to a rock from its home.
And you don't even know
worse
that
than
it's
a
an alien
peanut allergy.
halfway through it. Like, it's the whole part of it is like you don't know what it is and what.
Even in the presence of kryptonite, Superman could take out an army of either of your aliens. He flies a little bit above the Arctic base. He blows it up with his heat vision. Done. He goes a little bit outside the outer space base. He blows it up. Done. And I mean, we're talking about the Xenomorph.
If you want to talk about best superhero, you're absolutely right. Superman goes up there. He is an alien, but it's not what defines him as a character. It's not what you think about when you think of Superman.
He only gets his powers from the power of the Earth's yellow sun.
I know, that makes him a cool superhero, but that does not make him the best alien. It makes him a cool superhero. It doesn't make him saying,
like, oh, no, it's mutually exclusive. Martian Manhunter's also an alien and a superhero.
Yes, but
I agree with both of you. I agree with both of you.
Who do you think of more as an
both of
alien?
you.
Martian Manhunter or Superman?
I agree with both aliens. It's not who I think of more as an alien. One's from the planet Krypton. That's an alien world.
I agree with both of you in that your guys' aliens have awesome powers. How could I ever top it except that my alien, once it touches your aliens, could become both of your aliens.
Yeah, but
so it can take on anything that it
never
touches.
could, because Superman could just destroy every living thing within a 5-mile radius.
Wow, it does sound friendly.
Yeah. Okay, so your 1978 Superman, because that's the one you put up, and the Thing, as cool as they both were for the time, I think you both can agree that the effects for both of them do not stand up. And if you put them up today, they don't look that.
The original movie Superman looks good?
Like the flying part. I mean, come on, up against today's CGI, you don't think it looks a little bit dated? Just a little bit. I mean,
that's unfair.
But then watch Aliens, and you don't think all of the special effects in that completely hold up to this day.
So the best special effects person worked on Alien.
And what they did was made an alien, which is what we're talking about.
The Xenomorph is only effective when it has to be in a very specific setting. It has to be in like a little enclosed space. You're cut off with any other sort of
no one in space can hear you scream.
But only because they're always in like a tiny little, like if you had an alien in an open field versus Superman, it's not even a challenge. You just blast it and it's dead.
We're not saying who's going to win in a fight. We're going to say who's the best alien. And whose alien won an Oscar? Mine. Thank you very much. Not yours. And nobody even saw
it being the best alien.
This isn't the best alien movie.
There's an outstanding achievement in Alien.
And mine would win.
I could listen to this for ages, but I want to direct you a little bit. What last thoughts here. What is the best movie Alien? If this movie Alien is coming down in our world right now, bad, good, whatever, pitch me. Why is this the best movie Alien to say of all aliens? Last thought against the other two. Go ahead, Brett.
Each of yours has the attributes of the planet that it was from and all this and the species it's part of. Mine can take on the characteristics of any species of any planet it's ever visited, and that puts it head and shoulders above the rest, just
Because
even
yours
by
is
definition.
versatile, it means
Also,
it's
you said that
better?
yours could be great in any
Lawns.
any place. Lawns could be great in any location, except if there's no sun. And he's again allergic to a rock. And mine does everything
not-
yours does plus more.
Okay, yours does not do everything. Mine's plus
All right,
four.
go ahead. Go ahead
Okay.
last. All right, go ahead, Lon.
Me?
Sorry.
All right. Well, the first I have to make is it's not like solar powered like a solar powered remote control car. Like he can go inside and still be powerful. It's just that's the general source of his powers. But what I would say in terms of why Superman is the greatest alien, it's because Superman has things to say about the world in which we live. He's relevant. It's not just a monster. It's not just a horror movie and he's the nemesis. We got to get away from him, which is what both of your aliens. They're cool looking, but that's what they are. They're just slasher movie nemesis that are creative, but Superman really says something about who we are and about who he is. It's a real story. It's got real drama, and he has things to say. He has a real personality, and that's what makes him the best alien.
Okay, honestly, everything you're saying about Superman is white, but it illustrates my point. The things about Superman that make him great is the things that happen after he got here. He lived his life in the United States. He was all about the great red, white, and blue, and the fact that he wanted to fight for good and evil. His superpowers were ancillary. The fact that he was an alien was not what made him what we love. It's the fact that he is somebody that's going to fight for
Well,
us.
that superpowers, he's just reporter Clark Kent.
Yes, but I'm not saying he's not an alien and
Good
that they're
point.
mutual.
I agree. He's
Look,
terrible
Yes,
all the way through.
listen. But
that's
again,
not who he is. He's Superman.
And again, I'm not saying that he isn't an alien, but it's not his defining character, and you cannot make this the thing that you want. When you're talking about the xenomorph, when you're talking about aliens, they named the film after it for a reason, because it's the thing you think about. You can think about aliens. I guarantee you, when you think about that, people are going to think of the big head thing. They may think of Independence Day, and then they're going to think of the xenomorph from Aliens. That is the first thing that's going to their mind, and there's a reason for it, and there's a reason why the movie still holds up, and it could still kick all of your asses.
I mean,
Thank goodness we got the bell here.
yeah,
before the end of
wow,
that
we
round.
could, that's going to last another 45 minutes.
Dan.
Yes.
Whew, that's brutal.
That is brutal. Everyone at home on Twitter watching has obviously suggested so many choices. E.T., of course, very popular. The Predator, Yoda, Mac from Mac and Me. That's a personal favorite of mine. Chewbacca. A lot of people were in favor of Chewbacca. It's not really. It's just an addendum. Jacqueline, you mentioned Alien did win the Oscar for Best Visual Effects. Superman the movie was actually also awarded a Special Achievement Oscar for visual effects. It didn't necessarily win, but it received an Oscar. Other than that, pretty clean round, you guys. And of course, Andy, I've got the Twitter poll whenever you're ready.
Crap. What did you think?
I kind of get the whole like characteristic of Superman that you're coming from, so I was kind of thinking between the xenomorph and the Thing with this fight.
Interesting.
I mean, he's an alien.
They're all aliens. That's why we
he's from
accepted
another
them.
planet.
I mean,
Build
we
a
didn't
wall
say you
of
gave a
kryptonite.
bad, like a wrong answer. It's just a bad one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, so here's where it's come from. Any species, you sort of can adapt all these things. That was what the takeaway. Lon, your takeaway was the personality, really, the thing to say. Your personality, I mean, and Jacqueline's xenomorph, just sort of, it's the defining aliens of when you think of aliens. It's aliens, and all the special effects and things of that nature. Oh, man, this one's really brutal. Best movie Alien. I think you got to go with the one you think of when you think the word aliens.
Inside job, he's wearing an alien shirt.
No,
I'm just kidding.
She had that later after she changed her answer. After everyone
I
mentioned
did.
So that stuck me at the end. That was really tough. What did the fans say?
The fans said, let's see, right now, 418 votes. The fans, Andy, are agreeing with you. 43% voted for the Xenomorph, 32% for Superman, The Thing, 25%. A close race, though.
Yeah, because
Very close race.
you're when you if the Thing alien can be anybody, that's sort of not an alien. These two are defined more specifically, and then it came down to. Yeah, it was tough. That was a really tough one. That's why we've had that question on a lot, and I've put it off because it's like, how do you determine that based on that? You guys did a great fight.
I'm still interested if people would have liked Audrey 2 from Little Shop of
Yeah.
Horrors.
That was also a great answer.
There was a lot of good answers.
If it was
all right.
that versus Mac and me.
Well, maybe we'll try it again sometime
Yeah.
with new aliens. Round 2. This comes in from Garrett McDowell. Sorry, Dan, did you have anything else to add?
No, I was just laughing at the double bell.
Ding, 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 ding. One more bell. Garrett McDowell asked online, there it is, The Flash is still in need of a director. So this question has been asked a lot. We're a little late to it, but it's been asked so much we wanted to bring it back. Who should direct The Flash? This is, I guess, is a comic book question, but it's also a director question. Which director would we want to bring in to make this movie good? Comic books aside. Lon, you're up first.
So I'm going to go with Denis Villeneuve. He has a movie coming out this week that's excellent that I've seen called Arrival that I won't blow for everybody in the course of my argument.
Do not spoil
I will avoid
Looks
spoilers.
awesome, though.
But it is awesome. And what I'd love to get across about him is he is somebody who can work within established genres. He makes mainstream films that are accessible by a big audience, but they're always interesting and they're always visionary and they're always different and they always have a unique aesthetic that he brings to the table. So you look at things like Arrival, you look at movies like Sicario, you look at movies like Prisoners. These are mainstream genre movies, and yet he's adding this layer of complexity, he's adding this layer of depth, he's adding this sort of visual cinematography sort of touch, and he's working with these great actors and really getting these great performances out of them, and that's what we need from a Flash movie. One more point I would like to make is we just saw from Doctor Strange how effective it can be when you have a director and a visual team coming in that comes up with a new way to show us something we've seen a lot. So Doctor Strange was like, we've seen sorcerers and we've seen spell fights and magic fights. We've never seen them in this way, and that's what audiences really responded to. And that's what a Flash movie needs to have. We've seen the CW's Flash, we've seen Quicksilver multiple times. Americans know, and the world knows what a speedster on screen looks like. We need somebody who's going to be able to bring us a new way to look at these effects to make a Flash movie compelling, and I think that's more than anyone else working right now, Denis Villeneuve.
All right, Jacqueline?
Okay, so for my choice, I really thought about what is going to make a Flash director successful. And so I looked at directors that were successful in the comic book genre. And so, of course, I picked one of the most successful ones of memory, and that's Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool. And the main reason why I picked him is because I said to myself, I know what type of Flash movie we need. We do not need another DC, big, huge, CGI, whatever. We need to get the film to be smaller. And one thing that Tim Miller demonstrated is the fact that he can make a smaller budget superhero movie using inventive and sort of, I would say, new ways to tell the story to make it fun. And I liked what he did with Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool. And I honestly think if he did the same thing with Barry Allen in Flash with Ezra Miller, it would really bring what we like about the Flash. The fact that he's young and quippy. And if you look at the Justice League trailer, that's the kind of character that they're putting out. They're going to put out this young, funny kid. And I'm sorry, Dennis Vinia is a lot of things, but young and funny ain't it. So that's it.
Ooh, burn.
That was a really good burn.
Brett, you're picking.
I picked Joss Whedon. You know why? Because we need an answer.
Why?
We need an answer. And here's the thing. Our friends at Warner Brothers have tried really hard to be something independent from the Marvel universe, and it's failed. And I'm tired of watching them reach into the bag of things that might work for half-measure answers to the question. Just hire Joss Whedon and let him make a Joss Whedon movie. At the very least, it'll be good.
Did you see Age of Ultron?
They tried really, yeah, but he tried. They've tried so hard to do other stuff, and just do a Joss Whedon thing. I think when we start fighting, I'll answer the other ones, but that's the center of my argument.
I mean,
Yes.
we're
Fine,
fighting.
Yes. Fight.
So if you want to see a Flash movie that's very, very much like all the comic book movies we have seen up until this point, these both sound like fine answers. Like, sure, we've seen Joss Whedon do this multiple times now. We just saw Tim Miller do it with another snarky, quippy
And
superhero.
so he can do it again.
Well, okay, but that's uninspired by its very nature. Like, well, they just do it again. Like, why not bring in somebody who can bring in a fresh voice? Also, you wouldn't say that Deadpool, a lot of it was like the writing and the Ryan Reynolds performance. I mean, how much of that was really on the director? When you were watching this, were you thinking, wow, this is really well directed? You were thinking, this is funny. Ryan Reynolds is a good match for this character.
Okay,
like,
that's
what
like
worked about
such-
Deadpool was like the voiceover, like he plugged in a microphone.
That's such a qualification, because how many great scripts get turned into awful movies? We see that
All
happen
of them
all
by every
the
director of a
time.
comic
so
book
you
movie
can't just
except
say that
Joss
he's a
Whedon.
bus driver.
80% voiceover. That's what worked about it. It's
Look,
not
it was still
directing.
his vision because let's remember, Tim Miller is rumored. This is not like said to be true, but it was him that leaked the footage. He had the vision for what Deadpool was going to be way, way, way back when. And
It was a 2-minute sequence of Ryan Reynolds flipping into a car.
Okay,
It's not
listen,
a
if you
movie.
want to like knock down Deadpool, that's fine. But I got an internet and a lot of money that said that was a great film, and I
I'm
do
saying what
think
worked
he
about
can
it is the
apply the
voiceover,
same
not-
formula.
Listen,
Look, one
I
of the
didn't
things
say it was
guys
a
are going in a
disastrous movie.
circle. Warner Brothers is going to ruin your directors.
no, he
It's
already
gonna
ruined
ruin
Marvel
your
already
directors.
ruined
Your
yours.
director literally quit making
Twitter.
movies after
Yes.
making a
And he
superhero
could
movie.
not handle
He's
the
done.
machines.
He's retired.
Which means he's tired of working with.
And so he's
he's
going to go to the
burned
worst.
on Marvel.
Okay, wait.
So what
he
he
quit
just needs to
movies
do.
and Twitter after
No.
making a comic book
First of
movie.
all, he tweeted like 4 times in the
No,
last 2
time
months,
out.
so
Like, this is
I'll
the last,
accept the correction
This is the last
at
thing
the
we
end. Dan.
say. Josh Wheaton was driving like
Josh
I don't know.
Whedon.
I mean Whedon.
Not
Sorry,
Whedon.
Whedon. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong.
Whedon.
Whatever. He was driving the Cadillac, and now you want to give him a Pinto and say, okay, let's make it better, because that's what DC movies are. He was already in the best machine
So
for
you're
superheroes.
Your
saying-
director quit the
And
business.
so
Your director
now-
got fired off of the sequel.
No,
Mine's the only guy that's consistently working.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. He quit the film, and the reason why he quit is because he
No.
had artistic differences.
Ryan Reynolds kicked him off.
Listen.
It was between him and Ryan Reynolds isn't going to leave, so Tim
Okay,
Miller
so
leaves.
if you wanna say that there
that's
was a
getting
cho-
fired.
well-
That's not leaving. That's not leaving
Well,
the
what-
project.
Listen. I would rather somebody that said, hey, I'm going to hold my own against something because I have a vision and fight for it and maybe get fired for it than someone that's going to kowtow, because all we know about these movies is that they're machines behind
So
them.
he's just going to get fired off of the
No,
Flash
it
within
means
a few
that.
weeks.
Listen. They've already fired one director. If you're
Yeah.
going to use your logic,
He'll be
Two.
number 3.
Two. So I think at this point,
But the question wasn't what director
Just
should get
hire the
fired.
at this point,
for
getting
taking the
fired
Flash.
is not really a qualification that should disqualify you for getting the job as a Flash
No,
director.
no, that's not fair.
I heard enough.
I had
Dan?
one more point.
Yes,
They talk
I heard so much.
I heard too much. I heard enough.
Tried to wait. until
Yeah,
we're
Joss
done.
Whedon is he's not retired. He hasn't made a movie since
He was pretty hurt.
right. He was pretty hurt from Age of Ultron. But yeah,
comic
no.
embellishment.
He's not retired. He is working on a project right now that he says is a historical fiction horror film set
Okay.
during World War II. He
Called
has
Working with Marvel. Just kidding.
He has been tweeting a little bit surrounding the election season, so he's not
gonna be-
completely gone from
He's
Twitter
gonna be
either.
very sad now if you're following his Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
He might be gone from movies.
We're not mentioning it. We're not mentioning it.
I do want to say
it's fine. He's
love
gotta
it.
be
It's
sad
Just
again.
a joke.
Denis Villeneuve, I believe, or I heard
Good.
Denise and Dennis, but it's Denis. I
Right.
could tell you for sure it's Denis, and
I said Denis, I said Villeneuve, but I looked it up, and
You do a phonetic lookup?
I did, and there were like 4 different. I could not find a definitive.
I did
Here's
that,
how
I
it's
did
pronounced.
that for
yes.
Chiotao Ejiofor.
Well, I've heard,
Yeah,
it's,
I got
I've
it.
heard it's Denis. I've heard it's Denis.
There's
Yeah, other than that, I can get to the
Also,
poll results.
Dominal. What is it? Dominal.
Dom-
Gleeson.
no,
It's
it's
no,
Domhnall.
no.
It's-
It's like tonal
No,
with a D.
It's actually pronounced. Oh,
No, I know this because
Gleeson.
I know this because he corrected me on
No.
camera once. It's Donald.
Yeah, it's like
Donald
it's tonal
Gleeson.
with the
Donald
D.
Gleeson.
But it's the Donald in the way where it's like you're never gonna get it right.
Yes,
No.
I feel like
No.
Just say Donald.
I feel like if I had gone Donald, he still would have been like, no, that's not
I
it.
left after that
Dan, anything
redhead.
else to
I know
add?
how to
No,
say his
nothing else
name.
to add.
Sorry.
Based on the arguments, I gotta give it to Lon, just in that you sort of proved why would we want to recycle the same things we've done.
I was trying to protect his
There was a lot
actor, his
of
director.
there was a lot of stuff there. I
Go
guess
see
Lon-
Arrival, everybody. Go
That's a
see
good answer.
Arrival.
That was
a
a
good
good
answer.
answer. That was a good answer.
Thank
And
you.
I hadn't seen the trailer for the Arrival until the drive. When I got here,
It's
You're
really
like,
and then I
oh,
was
man.
like, yeah, that's a really. He's just good at
looks
And
things.
have you
good.
seen it? It's so good.
I have. I saw it at
seeing it.
Fantastic
Yeah,
Fest, and it
Fantastic
was.
Fest,
It's
yeah.
amazing. Everybody
Yeah.
go see
No,
it.
Yeah,
I'm
everybody
dying
go
to
see it, yeah.
All right, question 3. Matthew Foreign on Twitter, Foreign Thoughts. Our buddy Max Landis is writing and directing a remake of An American Werewolf in London.
How did he get the rights?
I tried to ask him; he was unable to comment. But yeah, so he's. But I think he's excited, and it's interesting. We'll see how that goes. That aside, the question is, what other '80s movie deserves a remake? So what movie should we make a remake of? I know that sort of seems like a mean question to ask. But what 80s movie could we make a good remake of? And Jacqueline, you're going first.
Okay, so when I thought about this question, I wanted to say, what is going to be an 80s movie that you can redo, make it fresh, and that you're not going to be essentially ruining something that was perfect. So you don't want to necessarily get a perfect film, but you definitely want to get a film that you know when you update it and do something to it, it's going to add a different thing to it. And so the film that I picked was Eddie Murphy's 80s film Coming to America.
Ooh.
Because I definitely feel right now, especially with everything that's going on, it would be really nice to have a let's bring the immigrant who wants to fall in love to America and have him through the trials and tribulations of American dating. Like, I think it would be really funny to update this with, you know, maybe we stick with Africa, but maybe we do an Asian character, a Middle Asian character, and have them deal with Tinder or, you know, speed dating and all of the fun things and weird things that we do now to navigate the sort of American dating system. And I do think that you can do some of the things that I felt that they did not do well as far as some of the stereotypical stuff that they did with the characters, but you can update it. Yeah.
Soul Glow?
Yeah. I mean,
will we still get McDowell's?
No, you'll have an update.
Okay.
Depends on where you decide to put it in.
Carl's the third.
But the thing about it that I think would be really great is it would give us a chance to show maybe an Asian or a Middle Asian character. Because one of the great parts of Coming to America was when Eddie Murphy got suave and smooth when he was courting Lisa. And that would be so awesome to see with somebody like Steve Glenn from The Walking Dead, or Louis Tan, the guy that's going to be in Iron Fist. It'd be so great. Or even John Cho. I don't care. I would just love to see that and have this be a romantic comedy that kind of updated and from that point.
All right, Brett, what's your pick?
My selection is War Games. War Games is a film starring Matthew Broderick. It was kind of took off on both kind of an artificial intelligence, strange computers are scary thing. And
look how scary those computers are.
That is a terrifying computer.
Scary. Look at all the switches. There's red switches and blue switches, and there are more. Anyway, so there's that. And then there's also like this Cold War, America versus Russia, nuclear war, end of the world overtones. And I was thinking we could do a comedy. We could remake a comedy, but I feel like comedy, I'm happier with fresh ideas. I think this is a very important time geopolitically without really getting into any specifics of what side to be on. But I think it's a time when things that are even more palpable and terrifying, such as, geothermonuclear war and artificial intelligence and Russian-American relations and computer hacktivism and hacking, I think this is the perfect time. And it would be not ha-ha funny, neat, like how's dating. I think it would be like, oh my goodness, this is a time where we really understand an important movie about where we are as a world.
Lon, what's your pick?
So, I mean, I think everybody tried to pick, like, what's an 80s story that could be really relevant today. And I don't know if there is an 80s movie that could be more relevant in 2016 than John Carpenter's They Live. It was already a pointed satire about mass media, about corporatism, about how advertising and all of these media messages were being driven into our heads and distorting how we think and changing how we think. And, of course, it has, like, a sci-fi element to it, but that's really part of the satire of what it's getting at. And now we're talking about a time when we have more screens, we have more sensors, we have more trackers, we have more technology that we're interacting with every moment of every day than ever before. And so you could take this whole notion of what would the They Live world be like if you went even deeper and you had a smart watch and you had a smartphone and you had a Fitbit tracker and you're on social media, and the aliens from the film have all of these new and additional ways to filter themselves into our life and to cloud our judgment and to control us. And I mean, the other thing, I love the original They Live. It's great, but it primarily serves as sort of a rough and tumble kind of gritty action film. But what you really have is this great premise that could be extended to a whole science fiction franchise if you wanted to, that would feel really relevant to today. One last point I would make, we have a perfect stand-in. Unfortunately, Roddy Piper, the star of They Live, no longer with us, but we have a perfect stand-in, the 2016 Roddy Piper, Stone Cold Steve Austin must star in the new They Live.
That sounds so awful.
Thank you.
We can share the points for that.
Yeah, I'm so
But like
serious.
that sounds so bad.
Look,
Stone Cold Steve Austin, you said today.
So shocked.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's so awful. It's not an argument. I mean, I could be like, listen, everybody else said is bad.
All right, why is it awful, guys?
No, okay, seriously though, I mean, They Live, I think, has its moment in time, and there was a great thing about They Live is that it was this cult classic, and it had this off, I guess you would say, different form of humor. I don't think you want to remake that. And cult classics, typically, when you do reboot them, they're awful because they center in on something and a time and a feel, and it's the people that found it later that make it a great film.
But They Live's only a cult classic because like people didn't really get it in the era. It's not like it's so culty and dark and nobody would get it. It's not like Repo Man. It's a perfectly accessible science fiction movie.
actor
But
like
it doesn't
Stone
matter.
Cold.
Look at something like Rocky Horror, which is also beloved, and people got it later. And every time they try to remake it, it gets worse.
But that's
and it would be the same
but
thing.
Rocky Horror is not a cult film on the same level as They Live. Like Rocky Horror is about fringe characters, and it is a musical midnight movie. They Live is just a science fiction movie. It just was not appreciated fully in its own era.
But it still holds the same premise as the fact that, like, when you're talking about an audience and people getting it on a mainstream level, I don't think updating it is A, going to either keep it to what it is that made it great, or B, you're just
well, no, it's not going to be. It wouldn't. A new one wouldn't be. That's exactly what I was saying. Like you're taking it from sort of the context of just like this kind of action movie to more of like a science fiction, a little bit more heady, a little bit more like trippy, updated. So you're changing it, but that's the whole point. Why remake something if you're just going to keep it exactly the same as it was before?
I don't think you're keeping it exactly the same. I just don't think that if you're going to remake the movie, the point of it is to keep the things about it that make it work and
that's
make
exactly
it
what I'm
great.
saying. The satire and the way that it's making this commentary about social media and about sort of the way that the media controls people and subliminal messages. That's what you keep. You don't keep the tone. You keep that message. And I like the idea of keeping a wrestler as the star because it kind of ties it to the
Yeah, but
film.
it's such a ridiculous premise with the sunglasses. Like you couldn't help but keep the tone. If you changed the tone, it would be
You're trying to do too much.
That's not the tone.
Like
That's
a
a
Steve
plot
Austin
element.
type.
That's not the tone. That's a plot element. The sunglasses, you can change the sunglasses.
Tell me more
That
about
was
why
it.
War Games better.
Well, War Games is where we are today, and
War Games is, come on, where we are today, it's about a kid in his bedroom hacking into like a solitaire
10 minutes
game.
So
later,
wait,
he
tell
gets
me
arrested.
Tied
at
into
what
the
point.
nuclear codes.
Okay.
It makes no sense
It
today.
does make absolutely you're telling. So here's,
They would set up
look
an
at the
AI
election. Just hold on and stop talking over everybody, for the love of Pete. Let's look at the news. The news is over. We have Snowden. We have someone who hacked in and changed the world.
And
But
it
we have
was a quick
every
story.
day now.
He released the information. He goes to Russia. That's
And it
not
happens
a good
all the
movie
time now. It's
anymore.
not shocking when
it's
it happens
not.
anymore.
The best example we have for that, we already had in Mr. Robot. And I mean, that's as good as it's going to get, I think, as we kind of saw from the first season, taking it into the second. I don't think this is going to be something that you're going to be able to get a lot of, we've seen it. We've seen it as good as it can be done.
So how do you go ahead?
How
Brett,
I
to
feel
defend
about
point.
that is, what's your answer? Your answer is like, what would it be like to watch Glenn date in a difficult environment? I think we already saw that in Walking Dead.
No. I'm saying that there's a great thing about the whole royalty. What do you love about Coming to America? One of the things I loved was the idea of Zamunda, like this cool, African
Offensive,
nation.
fake African.
Look, as a young nappy-headed black girl, that was my thing, and don't you dare diss on it. Okay?
So much of Coming to America about the multiple roles?
But no, this is the thing about Coming to America. It's the whole idea of somebody coming and wanting to find love that says, I'm going to love you for who you are and not for what you can be. And there's so many different ways that you can do that. And I know you will get cynical about that, but there is something that can be said about doing that with the different cast of characters. The other thing that was really funny about it was the fact that, you had all these different cast of characters that came inside. I think this time, instead of doing these sort of stereotypes, it'd be great to, bring in Aziz Ansari and to do a cool cameo, to do something more being him and more being updated, to not show these characters as just these awful stereotypes, but to show them as, real people that have different relationships. And it would be so cool. You can just think about him pretending to be something that he's not. And that whole idea of, royalty mixing among other people.
You don't do the multiple characters though, because that's what a
do
lot
the
of people
you do the
remember.
multiple
So
characters.
who's an actor today who could be like, who are the Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall of today that you put in those roles?
Well, this is the thing.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You said Steve Young.
Yeah, no.
Or John Cho.
Or John Cho. I mean, this is
They're going to play 6 roles in a movie,
you
John
don't-
Cho?
Look, Eddie Murphy playing the 6 roles is because he's Eddie Murphy. You're just telling me we can't find 6 interesting comedy actors
So
that
you
can
are
do
gonna cut the multiple
Yeah,
roles.
you don't have to do that.
And I just can't trust you anymore if you think we're going to make another Eddie Murphy, like people acting as
Yeah,
one person in
that's just
multiple
not-
roles. Now, as a
not-
creative
just-
executive, I can't even
Yeah.
focus on They Live.
But isn't that... but
Stone Cold Steve Austin he's throwing out, and,
Yeah.
and John
And
John
isn't
Cho.
that what a big thing that
part of
people
it.
remember
It's a
about
part of
Coming
it.
to America was like these guys are playing all these
Look,
different
that was
roles?
because it was Eddie Murphy, but we're going to do a different film, and it doesn't have
I mean,
to
that
be
just
that.
really
Look,
sounds like, so it's a
remember
romantic
McDowell's.
comedy about a guy looking for a wife.
But this is the whole thing. You can update that story and make it more interesting and more relatable to
All right,
today.
I don't want to get hung up on multiple characters. That's one point. I need to hear more from you, Brett, because they've talked a lot more than you. Go ahead.
I'm
give me
just
a
so
last
much
bit.
more concise, and I don't need to repeat myself.
Because your movie would be 5
Yeah, why
minutes.
is your
Guy
movie
goes
better than
hacks,
theirs?
guy goes
Okay,
to jail.
let him respond. You get the
Because
floor.
it's everything that we're afraid of and focused on right now.
So tell me your movie.
I haven't had time to think. I'm a high-level executive.
All right. Go. Max Landis goes on the fly. Go.
Max Landis. God, I can't do it, Max Landis. So there's a werewolf. No, I think it's someone who's kind of trying to hack, a young person that's trying to find out what this hacking thing's all about. Suddenly he's in the middle of something very higher level than him, and he kind of, it's more that he makes his way into the surveillance state and is shocked by what he's able to see. And once he has that power, everyone is going after him to find out how to harness it. And he has more ability to do that than other people.
They made that movie. It was Black Hat, and it was awful. They made it. Like
they made that movie like 18 times.
Okay, so I got all your movies. I actually like all your movies. But now, last final thoughts. Tell me why the other two would be terrible movies.
Coming to America, you just need to find a better person to be the main character. I don't really follow the whole thing. It does seem like more of a... What's going to end up happening is you're going to get like a non-poignant dating is silly movie by the time the process is over. And then They Live. It's like... There's a campiness that's perfect about that cult classic that I don't think remaking it is really going to augment.
I'm next? I don't want to cut anyone off.
Yes.
All right.
Do it.
So
I'm just kidding. Cut off as much as you
shut up and another thing. War Games, I feel like we've done the hacking movie, we've done the hacking thriller. Actually, the plot of the original War Games is not really that he hacks into a computer that's an AI system that's been set up to, like, in case we lack the nerve, blow up the Russians for us, which is ludicrous and is not really how it would happen and makes the movie feel really dated. So that whole kind of story doesn't really work out necessarily.
So we should update it.
And the elements that we've seen a million times in hacking movies. As for Coming to America, I mean, I feel like Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall and their comic voices is that movie. I mean, you've got some great supporting performances as well, but like that's really the nugget of it. And so you remake it, you got to find like two comic dynamos with that kind of chemistry and energy together, or what's the point? It's just a guy comes to America and he lives in Queens and he looks for a girlfriend.
Last thing is just because I didn't really say much, let's be honest. I just say like yours is best with Aziz Ansari, and it's already done better since you made a point of like a TV show that's done it better. It's done better in his show.
No, so this is the thing. He did Master of None, but that's him living in New York. That's a different story. It's similar, and I'm not going to diss you on that, but that was the one thing that inspired me to it is he already has shown in that show that if you update it, he's doing the romantic comedy sitcom show completely different, fresh, and if you applied that to Coming to America, I think you could get some of the things that you feel that we'd be missing because we don't have Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. Yes, they were great in what they did for it, but really, if we really look at the movie, if it was just Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy kicking it, it wouldn't have been interesting. It's much more than that.
All right, Dan.
Great work.
Good fight.
Yes, a very good fight. Again,
Three good fights so far.
Three good fights so far. It's opinion. Opinion is tough to fact check. I will say that there have been talks of remakes for both They Live and War Games so far. Some of them have even had directors attached. Nothing concrete happened yet. Coming to America, not so much. Eddie Murphy said that he's not really so much about a remake for that movie. And that's pretty much it. I've got the poll.
I need to know what the poll is. So the poll asked all three movies. What's the poll say?
The poll, there's a clear winner, if you'd like to know.
Yeah.
Which one? 44% of the people in the poll say War Games is the one that they think deserves a remake.
I'm actually I'm a little surprised and delighted that Screen Junkies fans have all seen War Games.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I love, for the record, I love all three.
I think all three of these are good.
All these
are three of my favorite 80s movies.
And War Games was,
Great choice.
And I'll say it, because otherwise he'll be like, you two said nice stuff about his and you lose. I would also like to say,
well, don't say that, because I might be leaning towards you. No, I think they all were good, but the fact that could be a better show that's there, the fact that it's sort of, you said how ridiculous, how do you match the ridiculousness of this? Whereas I think you can, there's plenty of hacking, interesting things that can be done, which Mr. Robot did prove it can do. I was leaning towards War Games as well. Brett gets the point!
Yes, 8 points.
Wow. Was it a 1-all spread right now? Yeah. Look at that.
All right.
Wow.
Okay.
That's how you play the game.
Wow.
Round 4.
My gosh.
So, the new Willy Wonka movie is being rumored to be done as an origin story, which got us thinking. Pivot to what we just did. What classic or iconic movie character should never be recast or rebooted? What character should just stay the way they were and we don't touch that character again? We're starting back to you, Brett. Who do you pick? What character don't we touch?
Marty McFly.
Marty McFly.
Marty McFly. And that's because Marty McFly. And that's just because I think central to this discussion is what is a perfect movie? Where is the perfect movie that we just need to leave the character alone? And I think it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to leave the franchise alone, but like the worst thing you could do with Marty McFly is to be like, that stupid idea of like, let's see what it was like to go back to the 80s and see what that was like. And that's exactly what they would do. And they would just try to do the same things again. That's what bringing Marty McFly back would mean. And what you need to do is, if you do anything to it, he has a kid, it's still not going to be great. But just leave Marty McFly alone, because that is a perfect time travel movie. That's a perfect generational movie. It's just as it is, leave it alone. I know you want to, but if you have that instinct, just bring it back out, watch it again. You saw someone who was just so perfect for that role, Michael J. Fox. Don't ruin everything that he did that we all love and everyone values by just going back and being like, that was a successful franchise, let's do again.
Lon?
I went with Indiana Jones. I mean, I think you can tell why everybody is so hesitant. They've never done it. At this point, there's so many hundreds of millions of dollars to make in recasting Indiana Jones because Ford doesn't like doing them. They could be printing money, and they haven't, because they know that audiences would have such a hard time accepting any other actor in that outfit, with that role, with that style. It's just he's made it his own in such an iconic way that even Frank Marshall, the producer, who could stand to make hundreds of millions of dollars if they recast Indiana Jones, has said they won't ever replace Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. What I think is so crazy about that performance that he does is the balance. He's a really tough guy that you admire, but he's also so vulnerable and has kind of this sweetness to him and cares about people that's so hard to pull off. Harrison Ford does it beautifully in 3 and let's say a half movies, and there's just no reason to ever put anyone else in that. You could keep the franchise going if you wanted to create that tone and that aesthetic in that world, but Lucas, Spielberg, Frank Marshall, they all know you couldn't ever replace Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones.
Jacqueline?
All right, so the person I picked this is an 80s film that honestly, from the minute it came out, it was something new and it was something different. And the reason why it was because the person that was cast in the lead role, and that is John McClane in Die Hard. This movie and what he did in that film, in the Nagasaki Tower, and every part of that film is... Nakatomi.
That's...
Shit.
It's okay.
Sorry. Nakatomi Tower was specifically built for him as that character. And you can't really have that movie with anyone but him. You can't have anybody saying yippee-ki-yay, whatever. You can't do that without John McClane.
All right, I agree on all three of these. So which one's most precious?
Okay,
Tell me why yours is more precious than the other two.
Oh, I wanted to say why theirs are totally redoable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why is Marty McFly
Marty McFly, because
more precious than the other two?
That's a movie, that's a specific thing. Indiana Jones is our James Bond. And that is a franchise movie where it's like, let's use stories of... It's a procedural. It's like, okay, here's a artifact that represents something important. He's going to go find it.
So what actor do you think could do it as well as Harrison Ford? And you think audiences would go accept that? Why haven't they done it?
I'm just saying, like, your argument is like, it seems like the James Bond, they recast it. They've had good ones, they've had bad ones.
But I can say all three of our characters are doing, well, John McClane is just James Bond. I mean, yes, it's been done before, but we're saying our characters. Well, why not?
Well, wait a minute.
You could say it just as easily about my character as yours.
No, but yours is absolutely, like, they keep trying to make these sequels.
What does Michael J. Fox do as a teenager that a million other really good actors cast as a teenager at high school couldn't do? One other example.
But no, I mean, I think if we go to the television role in cartoons, I mean, look at Rick and Morty. They found that whole Marty McFly formula, and they were able to do something different with it. That was interesting.
They made it a different interpretation of that.
It's the same role, really.
It's Morty, and leave it as a Justin Roiland bonkers, weird, phlegmy television show. But leave the films alone. And if you need to do it, make it he has kids or something. But just leave it alone.
Nothing you said about Marty McFly couldn't apply to any movie character. Like, leave it alone. We don't want to mess with it. It's straight as it is.
Listen, the problem with Indiana Jones movies is that not that Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford. Now it's Harrison Ford is old, and they keep trying to make him do action-y stuff.
Well, that's why
I'm fine with Chris Pratt Pratt. I'm absolutely fine
And
with
so
Chris
is a
Pratt.
lot of the internet, honestly.
I
mean,
don't. The internet likes Chris Pratt means zero.
What's wrong with Chris
nothing?
Pratt?
well, they're going to go see the movie. It kind of does.
We've tried.
What's wrong with Chris Pratt?
There's nothing wrong with Chris Pratt, but I mean, as Indiana Jones. Like, I'm not saying that Chris
Nothing.
Pratt is
But
terrible.
this is the thing.
There's
So
a
if
guy
they
with a
make the
soft
movie-
side that we
if they
saw.
make the movie and they make it well, you're saying there
Chris
can't
Pratt
be
is like
two versions.
goofy guy next door, like lovable underdog. That's not Indiana Jones. You can imagine Chris Pratt going into a temple with like total confidence and he's gonna like
He
get the
went
prize.
into
He's
Guardians
of the
barely gets out
Galaxy.
alive.
He
The
went
whole joke is that he doesn't know what he's doing and he's over his head.
Oh,
That's not
Indiana with the
Jones.
weighing of the thing, and he didn't know what he was
that's
doing? Like,
exactly
come
what I said in
on.
my opening argument about balance. That's you're making my point
No,
for me.
I'm not.
No,
I'm
she's
showing
just
that he
using
didn't
the
know
same
what he was
word.
That's the
doing. He
blade that
wasn't
Indiana
doing
Jones
that.
walks.
All right.
No, he wasn't.
All right. I didn't hear anything about anti
Well,
John McClane.
I
No,
would like to offer
because
John
they
McClane.
can't.
What's most memorable about the best Die Hard movies? It's John
Villains.
McClane and the villains. It's
Yes.
the villains. You can't replace Hans Gruber. You could replace John McClane easier than you could replace Hans Gruber.
No.
Here's the other thing is, listen, you guys are both just upset that they kept making bad sequels.
No.
That's it. You could. You
There's
need, and the,
one
and the
bad
answer.
sequel to-
The
And
thing
I
with
was-
mine is the answer to yours is you actually like just start over. Just start over is the answer to yours. With mine, it's like I just leave it alone. They haven't.
just Back to the Future
really
3
love
soil one?
Just because you really
Yeah,
love Back to
so
the Future.
You're talking about a
Die
movie
Hard
that
5,
had
6,
two
7, 8.
follow-ups.
Okay, look at
You're
it right
like,
now.
just don't ever
We've all
touch
had
it again.
sequels.
Like, there's two
Here's
sequels.
the thing: they've made bad Indiana Jones movies, and it wasn't the actor. They're two. I mean, the thing that
Oh,
everyone.
Temple of Doom is great. Get out of
Okay,
here.
well, to your
that's
point,
a separate movie fight.
To your point with Back to the Future, you don't
That
think
is
it
a
would be
good movie
somewhat
fight.
interesting to look like we passed the timeline and we're essentially going to the same place with, our current state of politics? You won't think it'd be a little bit interesting to kind of say, hey, where do we go after this if you did it with a different character? You don't think that would be something that you would want to see?
Just Marty McFly's a
All right.
Yeah.
typical
Here's the
American
question.
teen. He loves his guitar. He loves
Last-
his skateboard. You
last-
can recast that.
Last thoughts as we go around, and I need to understand why shouldn't we recast John McClane, Marty McFly, or Indiana Jones? Recast, redo that specific character in that world's universe. Why is yours more untouchable than the other two? Last thoughts. Jacqueline, go first.
I would just go ahead and say the reason why John McClane worked was because it was definitely an 80s film. He was a cigarette smoking, taking his gun into the airport cop, and I don't think that you can update that in a way that you're going to really be true to the character. And the cursing and the man against the world and One Night in the Tower, I don't think that plays the same today that it did in the 80s. And he did, for the most part, in all of the other sequels, with the exception of maybe the last two, still was able to do that formula. And as soon as they brought in somebody like Jai Courtney, it just fell apart because as soon as you try to put somebody else in that same situation, it's completely silly.
Lon?
I mean, it's Indiana Jones, and look, they've never replaced him, despite ample opportunity for decades, for exactly this reason. Because there's something about that character and the way Harrison Ford played that character. He's an icon. He's never been played by anyone else. They've never even tried. It wouldn't work. The only reason it works with River Phoenix in the beginning of Last Crusade, which I'm shocked nobody else brought up, is because you have that faith of knowing that Harrison Ford is going to show up. And sure enough, that's what makes that sequence work. Is you transition with the hat, and then we're all delighted because look, Harrison Ford's back. You don't have to watch this other actor anymore. And that was River Phoenix. Who else is going to step in and be better?
So you just proved your point. You said if we did a young Indiana
I said
Jones,
I'm
we could
amazed
do
you didn't
it.
bring that up, and then I countered that point because nobody else brought it
But
up.
what about a young Indiana Jones? You could do that.
They did. It was a horrible TV show that got canceled in like 6 weeks.
I know.
Brett, final thoughts?
I just think there's other people who could play
Okay.
Indiana Jones, like a River Phoenix type.
Yes.
He did for 2 minutes, and then great, Harrison Ford's back. Thank God.
Is that it?
No, I think the thing is Marty McFly. That's one of those movies that's just like it's a perfect film. Leave it alone. And it's like the difficult alchemy of like a time travel film that's played by the person who we all know just was absolutely perfect for it. And it's Michael J. Fox, and he has that same vulnerability, second guessing himself, and it's just leave it alone. It's so hard to make that perfect time travel movie the way that they made it then. Leave him alone. If you need to update it, just don't.
Dan.
I've seen several Doc Browns in addition to Marty McFly.
Yeah.
Rocky, Ripley, Wolverine, Iron Man. A lot of people saying that these are roles that should never be recast. Nakatomi, it's actually Nakatomi Plaza.
It is, yes.
Not Nakatomi Tower. And
It's the Fox building.
Sean Patrick Flannery played Indiana Jones in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicle.
Yes.
It lasted 2 seasons and 22 episodes. A
Oh,
little
there
bit
you
longer
go.
than Dwan's.
Still terrible.
6 weeks.
Can you fact check
Target.
that it's completely horrible and I'm
You know what's really funny is I forgot that. I had that written down and I didn't say it. I was like, dang it.
I cannot fact check for for taste. Lauren.
No, fair enough.
Alina, did you have thoughts on that round?
Going with Marty McFly in this one.
Ooh, guess what? So am I.
Oh.
Yeah.
You had some good thoughts on that. Eric Stoltzburn was actually really smart. Whether you meant it to be or not.
Thank you for saying
And the fact that
actually,
Harrison's
Andy.
too old.
Yeah.
There's just something about it that just stuck to me more. So you get the point, Brett.
Yeah. That was a hard one. As soon as I saw Marty McFly, I was like, yeah, it's
Tough.
hard to get.
All right, round 5. That means Brett, you're in. Lon and Jacqueline, the point. You're in the speed round. Lon and Jacqueline, that means this point's important for you two.
Yeah, it really is.
What is?
He's still fighting, though, right?
Yeah, he's still
Okay.
fighting. If he wins, then we have to do a tiebreaker. I'm saying
Yeah.
one of you needs to get a point to get out in the final round.
Got it.
This one comes in from Ben Feldman. This is a fun one. It's a film historian question. What is the best closing shot of any movie? So go back, tell us your last shot of the movie. What's the best closing shot of any movie? Lon, you're up first.
So it's a movie, it's from 1974. I'm hoping that the polls bear me out here and that Screen Junkies fans have seen it. The film is called The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Not the version with John Travolta.
Nah, this is not Denzel. This is not Denzel. I put it in. I put 1974 in the notes, so that was clear.
74,
This is the Walter Matthau, Joseph Sargent original version with Robert Shaw. What is so great about this closing shot is it's really a whole third act of a movie in a closing shot. It's a reveal. It is a amount of information that you didn't have in the movie that you suddenly get, and the whole plot works itself out in a purely visual manner. Martin Balsam, he's one of the criminals. He's been sneezing the whole movie. Walter Matthau has heard one of the criminals sneeze. That's all you know. Going to the end of the movie, he's just interviewing Martin Balsam, who thinks he's gotten away with it. He hears a sneeze, the door opens, he shoots him that vintage Walter Matthau look, and you know everything else that's about to happen without being told, just because of how great the storytelling is, how well paced it is, and how Joseph Sargent put enough clues in the breadcrumbs through the movie to set up this amazing moment. It's an incredibly memorable scene for anybody who's seen the movie, and unlike a lot of other endings where they end in a note that thematically ties the movie up, this actually ties up the whole movie's story in a purely cinematic visual way.
Jacqueline?
Okay, so let's set the stage in one of the greatest films that's ever been made, and that is Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather. So this is the last scene of the film. Connie, Michael's sister, has just come in and accused him of killing her husband right after being godfather to their son. And his wife, who has seen Connie walk in, sees that she's been distraught, comes up and asks him the one time about his affairs, because you don't question somebody in the mafia. And when she goes to ask the question, Michael lies to her face and says that he didn't kill Carla when he knows that he did. And then she walks out as his friends come in to greet him, and they say, Don Corleone. And the music plays, and she gives this look to him. And it's the look that just says it all, that says she realizes that he lied. She realizes that she's married a man that will do that, and she has to stay with it. She's literally making him a drink as that happened. And then his associate comes and closes the door. Everything plays out on her face in that moment, and you see that she knows what she's married into, and this is how the mafia works, and that she will never get a true word from her husband ever again. It's a deeply powerful moment, and it completely sums up Michael's total transformation from the young kid from the army to the Godfather.
Brett?
I went classic with this, but like old classic. I went Casablanca, the last shot in Casablanca. We have just seen what we thought was a romance film that we didn't know what was going to happen. And we just watched it get on a plane. We watched the girl get on the plane with the other guy. Why? Because our hero, who has been in this weird limbo known as Casablanca, but also a limbo of uncertainty himself, in his own mind. And he sends that romance that we thought the movie was off somewhere else. And it all shifts. We realize now it's a bromance. Now it's these two guys that couldn't be anywhere else. Not to undercut it, but we see this weird time, this weird place that is Casablanca. It's this last oubliette in a world that has gone so wrong, that's so hard to live in, with so much uncertainty. That thing we were familiar with just went away. That thing we wanted just went away. And now they walk off into nothing. And we realize what's really important is friendship of two people. Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And it's this very wistful, sad, memorable line on top of the visual. And the two just go off into nothing. We don't know. Not into the sunset like a lot of people want in a movie, but into darkness and obscurity.
And if the question was the greatest closing line in a film, I think you'd absolutely have it with Casablanca. But we're talking about the greatest shot. And so I do think that the one thing yours doesn't have is we're staring at the backs of two characters as they walk away into the mist. And although that's somewhat visual, it's not really compelling. It's just that. It's a very simple shot that doesn't really say a lot other than them walking away.
And we'd already had a lot of films even before that end with two characters sort of walking off into the distance. Modern Times, the Charlie Chaplin film, was almost a better, more elegant version of the same shot.
And
yeah,
I would
but
say,
this is darkness. This is the opposite.
Look, again.
And you just argued against simplicity.
Look, I'm not arguing against simplicity. I'm saying, what's the best shot? What is most memorable? And if you want to talk about what's the best line, definitely. But if you want to talk about from the ending of Casablanca, what people remember, they remember Bogey and Ingrid Bergman like talking to each other. The Hill of Beans.
It's the dialogue.
That's
the dialogue that sticks with
that
you.
people stick with you on.
All right, we'll come back.
Yeah.
What about the other?
And so I would say with yours, the only thing about that one is I have seen The Taken of Pelham 1, 2, 3, and the thing about that shot is it just kind of ends the movie. It sums it up and it ends the movie.
Shot.
And it is and it sums it up nicely, but that's it. It doesn't.
It's not the end.
That's not it.
Mom, that is not the end of a movie. That's the end of a crappy TV show.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
like
Exactly.
Also, Mom, that would never hold up in court.
Yes.
What happened? Why did you decide you wanted to follow up? What's your probable cause?
I heard him sneeze.
It's not. Yeah, because the end of the movie is
point of order. I say that right now.
That's ludicrous. It's a now he knows.
Okay.
It's a now he
That's
knows
the
this
bloody
is
glove.
the criminal.
Okay, so
it's not that this is how he's going to make his case in court.
Of that type of shot where you know it's the criminal, it's still second best. The best one is Kaiser Soze and The Usual Suspect.
That's not the closing shot.
But him learning and
it's him straightening out his foot. But also yes,
and they had the wisdom not to make that the closing
Usual
shot.
Suspects has the scene. It's Chaz Palminteri realizing it. It's not done as elegantly, and that's why it's not as memorable, and it's not my pick for best closing shot.
I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you. You're saying The Usual Suspect is less memorable than taking
closing. I'm saying the closing shot, not the ending of the. We're not the. It's not what movie has the best ending.
But I think your
it's
argument.
What movie has the best closing
argument.
shot, and Usual Suspects does not qualify.
All right, you're on the ropes. Why is yours better than theirs?
It's a freeze.
I give you a shot to fight
back.
Be
the last thing.
Yeah.
It's because it's the only one out of all three of these that fundamentally changes the movie you watch. This is a summary of everything you've seen. She said it herself. You get a view of this was Michael's journey over the course of the movie, but you don't learn anything new about Michael or Kay in that scene. It's just a way of tying it all together. This shot is just a two guys walking in an airfield. It's not like a beautifully composed shot. What you remember is exactly what Brett talked about, which is everything that happened before the closing shot. So it's a great last scene or two of a movie, but it's not the best last shot. I'm the only one to actually talk about a shot as the last shot.
You're talking about a freeze frame, which is this all that is, and then the music plays. Your shot is not anywhere interesting. It's great to see Walter Matthews.
It's one shot short of a slide whistle.
Listen, let me just talk about my closing shot, because the closing shot for me is actually the door closing on Kay's face, which is a lot more than you're giving her credit for. As you're looking at Kay when that shot comes through, you actually do get to see more than just, hey, this is...
We're talking about two, you just mocked the visuals in my sequence. We're talking about almost visually exactly the same thing. It's a character looking through a closing door.
No.
Your character looking through a closing door?
Stop it. Hang on. Stop.
Are they looking at each other?
No, what do you do? What do you do? This is a really good point. I usually don't believe in my points, but this is a really good point. What do you do at the end of a really, really cheesy movie that's meta and too many cooks? Yours is the end of Too Many Cooks. It's a lot of like
too many cooks.
And that's it.
And
that's so cheesy.
Like seriously,
Too Many Cooks was brilliant, by the way. You don't like it now
because it's making fun of
everybody shared it a million times.
If you can't tell the difference between the acting that's going on at the end of The Godfather and that freeze frame at the end of your film, I really don't know how to explain it.
You don't think you're taking There's a good movie?
I'm not saying it's not a bad movie.
Walter Matthau's a good actor?
I'm not saying that. There's a lot more going on in The Godfather in that moment.
There actually is a lot more going on in Pelham 1, 2, 3, as I explained.
Let her have her final thought, you'll have yours long. Go ahead.
As the music is playing, as that door is closing, there's a lot more going on than just her face. You see in her face the change of expression, which you don't see in yours. You just see a freeze frame. You see her look, realize, and then she sort of loses her face a little bit, and you can see that she realizes that she's married to this situation.
It's not just a freeze frame. It's a shot that leads into a freeze frame. It's not like you go into a static image of Walter Matthau. It's a closing shot.
It's literally impossible.
It is a closing shot.
And your closing argument?
My closing argument is it's exactly all of the same things things that we said about The Godfather are true of my scene, except that it
Mine's
also
better.
enhances your understanding of everything that happened in the movie rather than just being a thematic character note. It's both great acting from both two great
Just
actors,
put the music
all
up
on their
against each other.
faces.
Your music, my music,
Think
a
about it,
bad
it's a
70s
classic score.
sitcom,
It
and
inspired
like the
tons of-
score from
like,
The Godfather.
The Beastie Boys sampled the Pelham 1, 2, 3 score multiple times.
The good
It's
for
a
the Beastie
memorable-
Boys. My score.
I literally have a
an
nosebleed.
Oscar.
He literally made his nosebleed.
Oh, God.
man.
Would you like to give your would you like to, can we get him some tissues? Would you like to give your argument while you're bleeding back? Go ahead.
Thank you so much. This is the most disgusting thing that's ever happened on movie fights.
Our first blood.
I'd just like to say a lot of people are mischaracterizing my film as it is. A lot of
He's in
people
the
are
finals.
comparing it
Can
to
we
things,
just let him go?
other things that we've
I'm
seen.
sorry.
I just like to defend Casablanca selflessly.
Okay, well you lose. Sorry. Why don't you go take care of your nose while I
Thank you so
Wow,
much.
harsh. We have man injured.
I like when he comes down and be like, it makes me feel like I have a place.
All right. It really did come down between the two reaction shots because we have seen that ending shot in a lot of other movies.
But with a horizon.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this one had no horizon, which underscores the uncertainty, is all I'm saying.
So it came down to Lon and Jacqueline, and it was really a choice between the two reactions. But I think Jacqueline made an argument that's a little bit more. There's a little bit more going on in that Godfather scene.
It's a pretty classic Godfather. I do think Pelham 1, 2, 3. I'm shocked that people are down on it. It is a great movie.
No, it
Please,
really is.
people watch it.
Yes, very
when he-
close.
Godfather's
Jacqueline
brilliant.
gets the
Nobody
point.
would argue Godfather.
If you were up, yeah, it was tough there. But good
Just
fight,
so you
Lon.
know, I love that movie. Kicking the money under the bed.
It's so
I
great.
do.
Check out all these
Yeah.
movies. Lon, fantastic. That means you're going to help me here in the finals as we
I'm
do
delighted.
our speed round. Jacqueline, you're up against Brett. Brett, can you handle it? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'll play through.
Oh my god.
Don't worry, that's like the nerdiest thing that's ever happened to me.
So much fighting
Getting
and
some more
conflict.
clean tissues.
I can't even handle
some more clean,
not getting
clean
into
tissues.
this fight.
Oh my god.
Let's do the speed round real quick, okay? Ready?
Okay.
You okay?
Sure.
Wait, can we give him a?
know.
It's fine. No one notices.
Do you need,
No one
do you need a
notices.
second?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Like I really don't feel despair.
It is.
Oh, man!
What's going on here?
Oh! What?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Why don't you go take a second, Brett?
Perfect.
What is this?
I mean, if she wants to
don't
give me
say-
this much of a heads up till the end of the show, that's fine.
I say it right now.
She's gonna do it right now.
Now.
She just
What
stopped the show.
I did not see this coming.
God.
It's a show.
Oh my God, guys! The showstopper has been activated. Lon, Jacqueline, Brett. If you'll excuse us, we'll do your final speed round at the end of this. But guys, if you don't know what this means, it means Alicia is putting the belt on the line.
Oh, wow.
Are you cashing this in?
Cashing it in.
Oh my goodness! Have a seat.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if you want this.
Sit over there. Yeah, sit over there.
Okay.
Oh my God! She's cashed in the showstopper. Oh no! Dan Murrell, come on over. Lon, you can take over the chat during this part.
Yeah, I don't know
Only
how
fitting we
supposed to-
give Brett a little moment to gather his nosebleed.
I like that I just like
The Red
popped in
Fury.
back there. I didn't even know there was a door there.
Brett was getting a nosebleed, so it was
there
good
you
that we
go.
did. So it was a lot of red. All right,
Okay,
Alicia, explain. This is the showstopper. You earned this on a showstop on the last Fighter Standing episode.
Yes, yeah,
You
you-
can cash this in at any point to challenge the champion on the spot during a show. Oh my God! I hope Twitter is blowing up because this is live, guys.
And can I show you?
Dan,
I'm
the
shaking.
champion is here. Wherever you want, sir.
I'm
You're shaking.
I'm so nervous.
Dan, wow. Gracious handshake.
Let's do this.
Woo. All right, we have to adjust our cameras here a bit because this is the last minute. Make sure you got all your
Oh,
framing.
dear.
Do we have Dan's close-up good? All
All
right.
right, someone needs to bring the belt. It's in my office.
Okay,
right,
go
I
get
think.
the belt.
Or is it in my car?
It's all right. We'll trust
get
it.
it
You'll,
after.
you'll get it
My
after.
office.
Yeah.
All right, let's officially hand this over.
Okay,
Oh my goodness, the showstopper has been activated.
this has been locked.
Woo, this has been locked.
The whole
This has been
time.
locked the whole time.
It's
Only
been
I
in
know
the
the code.
studio.
And there are 5 speed round questions in here. Dan, what's going through your head?
Let's do this.
Ooh, this is history, guys. This is the first time. All right, I'm gonna crack this open. We're gonna do a on-the-spot
JT
speed
wants
round.
me to move over,
If you
so-
don't know yet what this means the belt is now suddenly on the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Have you got it?
Sorry, guys. We'll get back to your show in a
Yeah.
moment.
Ooh, all right, over here, guys. Ready for this?
Sorry to kick you out. No.
Here we go. Inside.
Oh God.
All right.
all the marbles
Okay.
comes to this envelope. Holy moly.
It's
This
in
is
an envelope.
exciting. Look at Dan, he's nervous. I can tell he's nervous.
I'm so nervous.
These two are nervous.
So nervous.
This is legitimate nervousness.
I've never been more nervous ever.
All right, we got our angles all good. Okay, frame up Dan a little. Yeah, center Dan up a little bit more.
Oh,
Here we
dear.
go. Whew. I am unsealing the envelope. Man, I don't even remember these questions.
Karnak, yeah. We did
did
these
this
like
forever.
9 months ago.
And then I was out of town every single week, so I'm glad that
I'm
could
curious
do it
to see what you guys came up with for these.
All right, guys.
It'd be great if they were the same speedrun questions for today's
No,
regular
they're
show.
not.
like,
These are
super
fresh.
prepared.
All right, guys. This is big stakes.
Okay.
The
Yep.
belt is on the line.
Yeah.
There will be 5 questions. There is a tie-breaking question. I don't know why we need it, but you should be able to answer best of 5 here.
Okay.
If anything goes wrong, though, we do have an extra if we deem it worthy. But everyone understand how this is going to work? This is regular speed round rules. You get 20 seconds each, 10-second rebuttals.
Okay.
It's all on the line. Any questions before we begin? Got to answer quick. Here we go.
Okay.
Who's manning our clock? Lon?
Sure.
Somebody man the clock.
I can do that.
Okay, great.
And then dang it.
Here we go. Live. We got sorry for the adjustments here. This is live and exciting. Ooh. All right. We got the time started. The time starts when they begin speaking, Lon. You understand? Here we go. Question 1.
Wait, what? Are we doing the same speed round time?
Yeah. I'm going to let me answer the questions and I'll remind you. Here we go. Question 1. Showstopper speed round. The belt's on the line. If you could only watch one director's movies for the rest of your life, who do you choose? Wait, I have 2.
Oh, okay.
If you could only choose one director's movies for the rest of your life, who do you choose? Coen Brothers or Tarantino?
Coen Brothers.
I heard Coen, but he said Coen Brothers. But
I think it was.
She said Coen before I did, so I think
Okay.
she
I
I
got
think
Coen
Alicia gets that one.
okay,
Yeah.
so
I didn't
Alicia,
say the full thing, but thank you.
Coen.
Coen Brothers, okay.
She did get the full Coen out, so I'm gonna take it. Dan, you got Tarantino. Not a bad one to get.
No?
Those are both good ones to get. Alicia, that means you go first. Time starts when she begins speaking.
20 seconds, right?
Yeah, when she begins speaking.
Got it.
Okay. The Coen brothers have a huge filmography. They've tackled so many different genres, so many different styles. You have the dark dramas, you have the thrillers, you have the really funny, quirky comedies. I think that they offer more variety. If you're just going to watch one director's work for the rest of your life, there's so much you can delve into when it comes to the Coen brothers because they're not limited to a certain number of movies and they try different things. They're really avant-garde and they're entertaining.
Hold on. Okay. Dan, time starts when you begin speaking.
Yes, the Coen brothers absolutely have quantity, but with Tarantino, I am going for quality over quantity. I would argue that Quentin Tarantino has never made a bad film. I would argue that the Coen brothers have made more than a few. You got to sit through your intolerable cruelties. There's some, of course, like Raising Arizona that you would love, but I think that Quentin Tarantino has more good movies than the Coens. I don't think he's made a bad movie.
Oh, whew. All right. Good. Alicia, you have 10-second rebuttal when you begin speaking.
Death Proof, Dan. Plus, Quentin Tarantino, he is fantastic, but he does copy a lot of other directors' work. So I think that his style is so influenced by other people, not like the Coen brothers.
Last 10
Original.
seconds here, Dan.
The Coens traffic in taking on homages to other genres. Tarantino takes other styles and makes them his own. He's done westerns, he's done thrillers, he's on the same kind of genre that the Coens have, but he's done better quality.
Ooh, damn it! I'm gonna need Lon and Jacqueline. You're over here on the couch. So you're gonna help me based on these arguments. What do you? I have a leaning already, but what are you guys thinking?
I'm gonna go with Alicia.
Based on what point?
I'm gonna go with the fact of the variety. I mean, because Quentin Tarantino, there's a lot of blood and a lot of guts after a while.
Lon?
If Dan had responded that Death Proof holds up, which I think it does, I would have probably gone with him, but that was an unanswered response from Alicia. If you're going to argue it's about consistency, you got to argue that he's really consistent, so I'm going to go with Alicia.
So intolerable cruelty doesn't count, but Death Proof does.
Well, she was arguing
I
diversity.
don't agree
not-
with that, but I do agree with the copy, the style, the originality, and I think you did get a little repetitive in your second point, where she gave me something new. It was very toe-to-toe, but I'm giving Alicia the first point.
All right.
It's not over, Dan. You always perform well under the lights.
I do my best.
Question 2. What is this is a broad one. Broad question, okay?
My mouth's
Not a
dry.
choice. What is the best remake of all time?
Oh, Scarface.
Take your time.
I know, yeah. I'm trying to think.
Give
the
you
best
time on this? This is a
remake
championship?
Of all time. The Wizard of Oz.
Scarface versus the Wizard of Oz. All right, Alicia, you have to go first. Time starts when you begin speaking. Are they losing their minds on Twitter?
No, they're still like upset about the whole showstopper thing. Like not upset, like finally y'all got it done.
Here we go. So they are losing their minds.
Yeah.
Good, Alicia.
Scarface. Okay. Scarface is so good a remake, people don't even realize that it is a remake. Al Pacino as Tony Montana is so iconic. People still quote his lines. Scarface is so influential, particularly in rap music and the way that they do rap music videos. And it still holds up today, so much so that they're planning on making another version of Scarface in the future. And the story is great and it's really fun.
Okay, Dan, you can have a couple extra seconds on yours. Go ahead. Whenever your time begins, you can be speaking.
Before you say, yes, The Wizard of Oz is a remake, there was a silent version of the same story, the L. Frank Baum story. The Wizard of Oz is one of the best movies American or any other country ever made. Scarface is a fine movie. It's fun. It's quotable. People in college love it. They love to put the posters up. But The Wizard of Oz is timeless. It is a classic. It is something that has never been measured up to. It was groundbreaking technologically.
Whoo! 10 seconds, Alicia.
The Wizard of Oz is a lot of fun to watch, and it is a classic movie, but I think that Scarface has more to say about the world. It's a movie that shocks people. It's a movie that can be studied for filmmaking and acting.
Last 10 seconds, Dan.
The Wizard of Oz has timeless things about home. The Scarface doesn't have anything to say about the world. Scarface is Al Pacino going, you want to mess with me for 3 hours? And people like it because it's kind of campy and cheesy in that way. It's not a classic like The Wizard of Oz.
It is.
Lon, coming to you. Quick thoughts based on the arguments.
This is really hard. I thought they both made really compelling cases for two very different movies, but I have to say, I mean, Wizard of Oz. The fact that Dan was able to come up with that as a remake, it is a remake. It is a total classic that has spanned
Jacqueline,
generations.
are you on the same page?
I go with Dan.
Yeah, I'm thinking Alicia's gonna kick herself. Why is Samurai 7 or Magnificent 7? I figured it was one of those.
Magnificent 7.
Magnificent 7 went through my head.
Makes
But
sense,
It's
yeah.
hard when you're
I think
sitting
I
there.
got to go with Dan on that. I think he did prove that why it's a better film. Dan, you're on the board.
Thank you.
Tied again.
I will say, a man wanting to watch the world burn, that is very relevant.
Yeah.
We're not talking about this.
You know, fair point.
I'm
All
just
right,
saying
we're tied
general.
again. Number 3. Okay. Yes, this is okay. If there's, hopefully this makes sense. I read it on my.
I hope it does too.
Yes. Okay, this doesn't mean it's an Academy Award-winning film. I'd like to make clarified.
Okay.
You don't have to pick an Academy
I wrote this
Award-winning
question.
film.
I don't know what happened. What's happening?
Worst movie from an Academy Award-nominated director.
Worst movie.
Oh, boy.
You don't need to pick a movie that won Best Picture is what I'm saying. What's the worst movie from an Academy Award-winning director?
The Last Airbender.
Ooh.
From Shyamalan.
He won for script, right?
Yes.
He was nominated for Best Director for...
Well, no, but
Was
winning.
it? Oh, sorry, winning? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
I
Sorry.
thought it was nominated.
Nominated director.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
You're safe.
Dan is
Sorry.
correct. That
Thank
is
you,
a
sorry.
viable answer.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
I'm going to go with Oliver Stone, Alexander.
Whew, all right. Alexander versus Last Airbender. 20 seconds begins when you begin speaking, Dan.
The Last Airbender is one of the worst movies ever made. I have watched so many terrible movies for honest trailers, and The Last Airbender is the only one that I couldn't finish. There's not a redeeming thing about it. The acting is atrocious. The casting is atrocious. It completely squanders wonderful source material. Alexander, there's a version out there that I've heard actually isn't that bad. The director's cut. It has great performances.
All right, Alicia.
I don't know if you've seen the director's cut of Alexander, but it's even more boring than the original, if that is even possible. Alexander is a melodrama. It's a complete fall from grace from this really established director who brought us such classics as JFK and Platoon and such brilliant movies, and then he makes a movie with great cast that can't even fulfill the characters. You've got Angelina Jolie playing Colin Farrell's mother. That's right.
Yeah, 10 seconds. Use both of you guys. Think this out. Use your 10 seconds wisely. Dan, go ahead when you're ready.
This is what it comes down to.
I'll take a disappointing film from a great director over a horrific film. I wish Angelina Jolie had played every part in The Last Airbender. That still would have made the movie better. There is no redeeming. It is a piece of garbage. It is an abomination to cinema.
Okay, Alicia, last thought.
I think when you think of bad movies from Oscar-nominated directors, you know, M. Night Shyamalan had a few missteps, quite a few missteps before then, so it wasn't such a shock that he couldn't bring it to the table, whereas Oliver Stone had a long career before that he should have done it well.
Jacqueline, coming to you, based on the arguments.
I think that last point, Alicia got it, because, yeah, Shyamalan was kind of shaky before that.
Juan?
I was gonna go with Dan. I mean, honestly, for passion alone, but I did think that the fact that Airbender is we were talking about the worst film, not what's the most disappointing, whatever career trend. So I think Dan answered the question of, as a standalone film, Airbender's worse.
I gotta agree. It's not about the body of work. It's about the standalone film. I mean, what is what worst movie from an Academy Award nominated director?
I mean, that to me sounds like it's a shock.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, that was supposed to be really good.
And most people don't know he's an Academy nominated director.
That's a good point. After reading the question again, because I thought it was worst movie. It is worst movie from an Academy Award-winning director. That's a valid point.
Worst movie.
Yeah.
That is a valid point because you don't consider M. Night Shyamalan to be an Academy Award-winning director, where you do.
Wait, was it winning or nominated?
From Academy Award-nominated director. Same. I mean the same thing.
No, people who have not won an Oscar will tell you it is not the same thing. Being nominated and winning.
Worst movie from an Academy Award.
Yeah, it's a good answer.
It's a passion
bad
versus
movies from directors who've
passion
been nominated.
Versus a good point. I read the question wrong. I want to reevaluate it. And I think that's fair.
It's the same question you asked.
Alicia gets the point.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's not over, Dan.
No, I know. It's
not over.
Okay.
That's just what I thought the question was.
It's okay. You still got a
it's
shot.
the same question.
Gonna have a little asterisk here on the.
Here we go.
Okay.
That's fine.
It's not over yet. This is a rematch question. Ready? This comes from episode 59. Most over-the-top Nicolas Cage performance.
Wicker Man.
Ooh.
That's the only one I can think of.
It's Face Off, and I can't wait to argue this question.
That is a good one.
Okay, worst over the top. Yes, it's most over the top Nicolas Cage performance. Not worst, best. It's most over the top Nicolas Cage performance. Go ahead, Alicia. Time starts when you begin speaking.
Yeah, that kind of changes. Wicker Man features such an over-the-top performance from Nicolas Cage that's become a viral video clip. The bees, not the bees! He's so crazy and over-the-top and ridiculous. And the story itself is so stupid. What is it about? Honey or a lack of honey in a town and women and religion or something? I don't even know. I can't even follow it. He tries his best to sell it and he goes way over the line to do so.
Okay, Dan?
The Wicker Man is a terrible performance, I'll grant you that, but we're talking over-the-top performance, and the most over-the-top character is Castor Troy, just like, yeah, I kick his ass, yeah, I mean, the way he's in this movie, he plays this guy the whole time, that's who he is. Even when he's John Travolta trying to not be that, he's like, he's looking in the mirror, and he's got this thing going on. Wicker Man is terrible.
Okay, Alicia, 10 seconds.
Yeah, I do say he's Castor Troy for quite a bit, but he's not that for the whole movie. He's actually John Travolta's character for most of it, which is a much more subdued performance. And actually, when you watch it back, you notice just how many mannerisms he incorporated from John Travolta. It's actually a good performance.
10 seconds, Dan.
Have him looking in the mirror and he's like, I'm me. Even when he's trying not to play John Travolta, the caginess is coming out of him. Him whipping his hair with the robes. And I mean, that is pure uncut Nicolas Cage. It's my favorite Nicolas Cage.
Whew. All right, Lon.
This one's Alicia probably wins on the arguments, but how could you fake Dan's masterful impression?
Dan really pulled that out for me.
Communicating the entire argument.
The passion did win you on that one.
That passion did
See,
win
that's
on
where the
that
passion did win.
I think I gotta go Dan on that.
That makes
the
us tied.
argument was better on the other side.
Yeah, Alicia.
No, I think she still made good arguments on both, but yeah, the passion broke the tie on that. Yeah. That puts us in a tie.
Oh, God.
This is the final question.
Oh, God.
Unbelievable.
This is going to be a hard one. I don't know why it's on here, but it is. I got to go with what's on the card. Best non-John Williams film score.
Oh.
The Godfather.
Psycho. Bernard Herrmann.
The God, I mean, that's how you go out. This is going to be brutal.
Oh my god.
How do you choose?
Oh my god.
Based on what I'm listening to, all ears on this.
I think I have a nosebleed.
We got The Godfather versus Psycho. Dan, you're up first with The Godfather. Time starts when you begin speaking.
I have to argue against The Godfather.
The Godfather, the score to that movie only underscores the deep. I mean, that is a story about family. That is a story about deep felt emotion, and that da 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 da. That is like the score is like a painting. The score sets the tone for the movie. It tells you the depth of this. It feels like a family song, like something that was passed down from generation to generation. It takes.
All right.
Okay.
Time begins when you begin speaking.
All right. Well, similar to John Williams, if you're talking about iconic music scores, and it doesn't get any more iconic than with just a couple of notes, they're able to inject a terror into your hearts, and that is such an iconic score. As soon as you hear it, you know it, even if you've never seen Psycho, and I think that's the power of a music score. It gets terror into my heart as well.
10 seconds, Dan. Use them wisely, both of you.
The Psycho score underscores that ring, ring. That is the underscore of a shocking event. The score of The Godfather, the themes that it gives the characters, it enhances, it enriches the movie. It doesn't underscore what's happening.
Alicia,
Okay.
10 seconds when you're ready.
I'd say if you go up to anyone in the street, they'd be able to say the Psycho score. They wouldn't be able to say the Godfather score. The Godfather score is brilliant, but it's so subtle you don't really notice it. It's a theme song, but it's not as iconic.
Shit! I got an opinion. I'm gonna write mine down. I want to hear from the peanut gallery to see if it changes. Okay? But I don't want anyone to think I'm swayed, because I am the judge. I got to make this call. Dionne?
I thought the most compelling argument, I thought both arguments were rock solid. It's very difficult. I thought the most compelling individual argument was when Dan said that the music underscores, like it's like a painting that goes along with the film rather than underscoring the action in quite the way that the Psycho theme does. So I'm tempted to say that Dan pulled it out, but it's hard.
Jacqueline, based on the arguments?
Aww,
based on the arguments?
Nice.
I will say that I think Alicia's point about which one is more recognizable, but what was the question? Memorable score or better score?
Just best. I think. Best, yeah.
I don't think you can argue a better one than The Godfather, though.
Brett?
You're
there.
Just keeps posting this photo of Castor Troy, and I wasn't really able to.
All right.
It was a good Castor Troy.
I wrote Dan.
Yeah.
Dan!
Oh my god.
Dan keeps the belt! Damn it, I wanted you to lose it!
It's why you're the champ.
Keep things interesting. I gotta go with Dan. The painting is exactly what I wrote here. That was like it was passed down from a family. That underscores it. That was an amazing argument. I mean, I know you just lost, but that was an amazing. Where did that come from? That was good.
I love that theme. I love the movies, and I love that score.
Dan, Murrell, you keep the belt. Alicia, so close.
I tried my best. Thank you.
Wow, round of applause.
Now good luck, you guys.
I'm happy to announce, Alicia, if you're available, we will be doing another Fighter Takes All showstopper episode in 2 weeks for Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. So we'll let you know the taping, and everybody, now that the showstopper has been taken, it's like an immunity idol. You got to put it back in the game. So you'll have another shot, or someone else win. Bravo! All right.
Congratulations, here, a hard-fought battle.
All right. Well, we still have a game to finish here. Jacqueline, Lon, Brett. I don't know how you're gonna top it. Sorry.
At least the pressure's off.
Yeah, no, that was
You okay?
so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Bye, Alicia. Thank you, Alicia.
Bye, Alicia.
Just disappeared into the bowels.
Into the ether.
Oh my God.
Wow, Dan, you did it. All right, well, plenty to talk about it after the fight, which we'll have here on Plus, on ScreenJunkies.com. Whoo!
That was like an act of God kind of thing.
Yeah, seriously.
I got
All right.
Alicia's notes. I'm going to keep these forever. It's going to be valuable one day.
Man, that was tough. I was really, no offense, Dan. I was just rooting for Alicia. I thought maybe let's have some change, but I got to get based on the arguments, and I thought you pulled it.
I mean, I feel bad that I won. I don't know. I'm happy that I won.
No, you earned it.
You earned it.
So I wanted to have some other people there to verify that we were all the same.
No, you
place.
earned it.
When he went into the Godfather
Yeah.
store,
And
it
he
was like a
painted it. He
painting.
did it just like
Passed
this.
down from
I was like,
generations.
this is why.
That is
This
what
is
it
why.
is. That's
Yeah.
why it's so iconic.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
mandolin. That's what does
Guys,
it.
here we go.
That's why he's the champ.
It's a long episode, but for good
Okay.
reasons. But I got to give this a finale here because we are tied.
Okay.
We are tied.
Okay.
Now that's how you do it, guys. You just saw how the speed round goes down.
Yeah,
Do
recipe
it like
Exactly like that.
I've been ahead, I think, by 2 or 3 going into a speed round before and lost the whole thing. That was the
So
first
let's see
thing
what
that's
happens. Or maybe you'll turn the tides. Here we go. Jacqueline and Brett, you have 20 seconds each, then 10-second rebuttals. The time starts when you begin speaking. Dan, do you have your timer up?
Sorry, give me a second here to get.
This is fine. We'll have a second. But first one up is a bargain bin. I don't know who this came from, but it'll say in a second. Look up there. You're going to see 2 movies. Now, I'm going to warn you. You will not know these 2 movies, I don't think. So look hard and don't just blurt out.
And say which one I would
And
prefer
JT
to
might
have.
need to pluck this photo up a couple times.
If you had
during
to
the
buy
argument.
one, which
Right.
would
If
you
you
buy?
had to buy one, which would you pick? Here they come. Murder, She Baked or The Dog Lover?
Murder, She Baked.
The dog lover.
Okay. Now, can we zoom in on that while they're talking? I want to make sure we have those posters up for their argument's sake, because that's only fair. That you're basically arguing this off the cover. Okay, because there's a very, I don't know what she's doing to those dogs. And there's some cookies.
Comforting them?
Can we put the
Yeah,
picture?
Leave it up.
She's loving them?
She's loving them. All right, I think he's zooming a bit. All right, so, but that means, Brett, you have Murder, She Baked.
Good job. Look at these effects we've got.
Yeah,
Oh my
JT's a
God.
pro.
JT, how are you doing this?
He's a machine.
I can't believe this didn't take months and months of render
There
time.
they go. I want you guys to get a good look. This stars James Ream. Doug Glover stars James Reamer and Leah Thompson, and the Murder She Baked stars Allison Sweeney and Cameron Matheson.
Okay.
All right, guys. Ready? Time starts when you begin speaking, Brett.
All right, no matter how terrible Murder, She Baked is, I'm probably going to get baked when I watch it and continually laugh the whole time through at the title, Murder, She Baked. So no matter how bad it is, the title's amazing. Plus, Dog Lover, it's probably just going to be some sappy thing about the love of a dog motivating you to do something nice.
Pop that up there again. Let's make sure we can. Yeah, go ahead. There it is. Okay, great. Jacqueline, go ahead.
Okay, so I looked at his title, and that's what made my decision because the chocolate chip cookie mystery is the one reason why I'm not picking that one because who cares? That right there. The one thing I will say about my title is I don't know. Maybe it's she loves her dog in the wrong ways because it says she's on the wrong side of right. And I want to know what the wrong side of right really means in a movie called The Dog Lover.
Whoa. For 10 seconds. Let's leave it up for Brett and during their 10 seconds. Go ahead, Brett.
Learn the truth.
I didn't notice that. Brett, 10 seconds.
There's a lot that could be in a cookie mystery. Is it semi-sweet? Is it dark? Is it milk? Also, bestiality is illegal and dogs cannot give consent. I will not give $2 to this kind of nonsense.
All right, Jacqueline, leave it up for her. 10 seconds based on those posters.
I want to learn the truth. This is based on a true story, and it says she ended up on the wrong side of right. That sentence alone makes my movie, and the chocolate chip cookie mystery ends yours.
Murder, She Baked.
Lon, based on those arguments.
Based only on the arguments.
Yes.
Bestiality is gross and wrong, so chocolate chip cookie mystery for me all the way.
I'll lean on the couch.
I'm gonna go with the chocolate chip.
Mine is gonna be fun to watch.
Brett, yeah, well,
What makes it
it's
semi-sweet?
something to watch, but
If you want your pervy things.
You don't know
Brett, you're
what
on the
she
board.
did with
I like
the
that
dog.
you didn't argue like James
be
Remar
fair,
and Leah Thompson were good.
To be fair, she didn't say she was going to sleep with them.
I know. I'm not saying I'm into it, but it's
All right.
interesting. I'm gonna Google that movie.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
Thank you for whoever smithing in. That was crazy.
That was really good.
Max
by
and I
the way.
laughed,
That was
so we
really
just
good.
decided.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Who'd be the better friend? Ant-Man or Doctor Strange?
Ant-Man.
Doctor Strange.
Okay. Jacqueline, you're first. Why would he be the better friend?
Okay, first of all, Ant-Man, Scott Lang, he brings that whole like quippy, fun guy that you want to have fun with, and he can shrink and get big. So you can like go Giant Man with him, and he can go terrorize and do like a Godzilla thing. It'd just be more fun to hang out with. That's why he has friends, and Doctor Strange has no friends.
Ooh, all right, Brett.
So before
What time starts when you begin speaking?
Okay. Doctor Strange can alter reality from what I've learned from the previews because I haven't seen the movie yet. But I would say that Ant-Man, like I get in fights with my friends, and if they can carry 70,000 times their body weight, like that is a bad friend to have in a wrestling match. Also, he can disappear and do like cheeky things because he's kind of a cheeky guy. And I think Doctor Strange would be a better friend to have because we can go on crazy loopy mystery tours.
10 seconds, Jacqueline.
Okay, I saw Doctor Strange. He's like a dick through most of the movie, so no, he's not somebody you want to be friends with. You actually want to be friends with Scott Lang, who's got a kid. He's a family man. He meets people and interacts with people. He was so fun showing up in the Avengers being Scott Lang. You want to go have a beer with that guy. You want to hang out with that guy. Doctor Strange is moody, and he's not somebody that you would really want to hang out with. His girlfriend left him.
Last 10 seconds.
I'd rather have Doctor Strange as a friend because I don't want him as an enemy. Your guy is so decent that he would be nice to me even if we weren't pals. We wouldn't have to be friends to have a good time.
Based on his arguments, I gotta go with Jacqueline.
I was thinking Jacqueline as well. I mean, I definitely would rather hang out with Scott Lang.
Yeah, he
than
doesn't.
Stephen
The whole
Strange.
no friends thing sold me. Jacqueline's on the board. All right.
I didn't understand Ant-Man.
We're tied again. Here we go. Guys, in honor of his new Netflix movie, True Memoirs of an International Assassin, what is the best Kevin James movie?
So glad I didn't make this speed run.
Best Kevin James movie.
Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Really?
There is one in there.
Shut up.
Kevin James movie. That's a good one. Am I missing something here?
10 seconds.
Grown-ups?
Thank goodness.
The correct answer was Hitch.
Hitch!
I thought time was running
realized,
out.
but I realized it was a deep pull. If you could pull it, I thought it was only fair.
I thought you were thinking like Chuck and Larry, and I was like, that's still terrible.
No.
Hitch is solid. He's solid.
Yeah.
All right, but we don't have Hitch in this. We have Paul Blart versus Grown Ups. Brett, you're first.
Paul Blart Mall Cop, I was expecting to hate because it sounds so stupid, but is actually a fun, happy, ridiculous. The slapstick comedy of Kevin James is really funny. No matter how you slice it and how you want to cast it aside that there are parkour villains taking over a mall, it exceeds every single low expectation that you have for it, and there's belly laughs in there.
Okay, so Paul Blart Mall Cop is just an awful movie, and it's horribly offensive to security guards everywhere. I just want to go ahead and say that at least with Grown Ups, you get to have Chris Rock and other people along to bring more laughs than just looking at the Kevin James comedy. There's more comedy going on in that movie than just Kevin James being fat and fart jokes. Like, I thought it was done.
10 seconds. Brett?
There's a false premise in what you said. You say that having Chris Rock there will bring laughs. I'd be happy if that was the case. It just doesn't happen. All you do is get actively upset at that movie for those guys just getting money from you, stealing money from you.
Okay, well, I would go ahead and say that at least some people disagreed because that movie was something that did well in the box office. People went back to go see it. And I do like the whole, grown-ups having this moment where they have to be grown-ups and do something different.
There's no story in that film.
Ooh, all right. Dan, Alina, thoughts from the couch?
I think Jacqueline made the problem of not really combating the idea that her movie wasn't very good. I thought that Brett made a good argument that his movie was actually better, so I would side toward Brett on that one.
Alina?
I was thinking more Jacqueline on this one, but this was a hard one.
Lon?
This was a hard one. I actually think Grown Ups is probably a much better movie, but Brett won me over with the Paul. Like, he actually talked about why Paul Blart was a good movie, and it won me over, even though I hated it when I saw it.
Whether you liked it or not, and that was fake, I bought it, so
Yeah.
so much love for Paul Blart. Okay, I guess you get the point.
I think it was like number 9
were
or
you
something in the
thinking that?
box office that year.
I've never seen a
that
Kevin
was
James film, so I was
wow.
pulling that out.
Why have I seen both of those?
I just knew that Chris Rock was in it, so I was like, all right, go with what you know.
I did not see Paul Blart 2.
Yeah, I didn't see Paul Blart 2. I didn't see 2.
That's where I drew the line. All right, we're
It's
still
not
in this,
bad.
guys.
No, it's fine.
Here we go. This is a broad question. What is the best movie to watch after a breakup?
Die Hard.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Ooh. Die Hard and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Okay, I heard Die Hard first, so you're up, Brett.
Die Hard is the perfect action movie. After I get my heart torn out, I just want to watch a good action movie. I just want to get away from everything else that's out there, and I want to see a bunch of smarmy Europeans get blown to smithereens, and I want to see Hans Gruber, and I want something that's just for me. I want Carl from Family Matters and eating Twinkies.
Jacqueline?
The reason why you want to see Forgetting Sarah Marshall is because after a breakup, this is when this movie is going to do you the most good. You're going to get to see someone that's had a breakup, that redeems themselves, that literally gets the crap kicked out of them in this breakup and still comes out at the end with a puppet Dracula musical, which is the greatest thing in the world if you ever got to see it. And Die Hard is a great movie to see because you want to see it. It's not because it's a breakup.
10 seconds?
Well, even if we're canceling out each other's love stories, like, he redeems himself for his wife, fighting tooth and nail to get her back, and he gets to kill a lot of Europeans.
But that's not the reason why you said you wanted to see that movie. You said you wanted to see action, you wanted to see guns. So really, any action movie at that point would serve your premise. Forgetting Sarah Marshall specifically goes through somebody getting over a breakup and you feel better at the end of it.
Whew, based on the argument, I'm going Jacqueline.
Yeah, definitely. I think she did a much better job establishing why it's a good breakup movie instead of just this is a movie that I really love and like to revisit.
Bring us to a tie. I'm just going straight to it. I think that was it. So this is it. All the marbles. We're going to need your help here to help determine this one.
Oh my gosh.
Final question. Don't cheat. Are you looking?
I didn't even know they were written down there.
How dare you?
All right. No, he wasn't. I was kidding. Here we go. Last question. What movie had the most impact on Tom Hanks's career?
Philadelphia.
Brett?
Forrest Gump.
Gump versus Philadelphia. Jacqueline, you're up first. 20 seconds.
When Tom Hanks portrayed the role in Philadelphia, this was a time when people were still very afraid of AIDS. And the fact that he went on to win the Oscar for it and showed that transformation from an AIDS-ridden person to someone that was healthy, it showed his range as an actor, which he would then go to show on in other films like Castaway and like Forrest Gump. But this was the first film where he really showed himself to be a serious actor.
Brett, time starts when you begin speaking.
If you're asking the question what film had the biggest impact of Tom Hanks has had the biggest impact on America, I would say Philadelphia for the reasons that you said. But in terms of the impact on his career, Forrest Gump is the film you think of when you think of Tom Hanks. It was the thing that he will always be remembered for as this central, amazing thing that everybody loved. There's still people who are both sides in terms of the message of Philadelphia, but people are all together on Forrest Gump.
I would argue that Forrest Gump does not even happen with Tom Hanks without Philadelphia. Again, he did win the Oscar for that role for a reason. He would have never even gotten the audition at that point to do Forrest Gump if it wasn't for his performance in Philadelphia. That had the bigger impact.
Last 10 seconds, Brett.
But people don't remember him for Philadelphia. They remember him for Forrest Gump. Not the thing that gave him the opportunity to make an impact on America, but the thing that he did that was Forrest freaking Gump that was the impact on his career.
It's not most memorable, it's most impactful.
Ooh, Dan, on the couch, what do you guys think?
That's like a 50-50 right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
really tough.
That is really, really... I think I would lean slightly towards Brett.
Interesting. I'm leaning towards
very
Jacqueline.
slightly. Very slightly.
Why are you? Because I'm leaning the other way. Where are you? Why?
I think it was the idea of just the breadth of it, the width of it, the fact that America embraced him in Forrest Gump. That
had to do
again,
Forrest Gump is what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like if you're saying like the most impact on his career, that was an American
true,
phenomenon, and that's why I lean toward Brett. But Jacqueline's argument was fantastic.
It's true, but she made a good point of would he have gotten that role without Philadelphia? Thoughts from you guys?
I mean, I think the specific question is what role had the biggest impact on his career, not on how everybody views him.
Yep, on his career.
So I think it's hard to argue, Philadelphia had the bigger impact for exactly the reason Jacqueline said, because that changed the trajectory of career, allowing him to take roles like Forrest Gump. So I think you got to go with Philadelphia. But it's close. It was a great argument.
Jacqueline wins!
All right. Very well done. There's a come from behind.
Holy moly! That's how you do it, man. How about, can we say we're all winners here? That was a great episode.
Well, everybody wins.
All of us here. What an amazing show, Dan. Holy moly, that was a good one. I was on the edge of my seat the whole show. Wow, all right. I have so much to talk about it after the fight. I'm excited for it. Let's give you guys all some nice big plugs, though. Brett Ehrlich, so close. I love when you come on. Thank you for doing it. At Brett Ehrlich on Twitter. What else can people find, John?
So there's this group I've been working with called Collaborator with one L. It's kind of like the LinkedIn for creative people. It we did a movie review, a short film review show called Short on Shorts, where we take short films, we talk about them, put a highlight on them. We have a YouTube channel, but you should just go join Collaborator if you're like tired of sending Craigslist ads out for people to make movies with. You put your own little make your own profile, and it's a community where you can discuss ideas and find stuff out. It's really cool. It's Collaborator with an L.
Great. Lon Harris at Lon's on Twitter. Good job today.
That's real. Thank you, sir. So just follow me at Lon's. I mean, I pop up on some of our Screen Junkies Plus shows, but that's where to find me and keep up with what I'm doing.
Dude, good to have you. Jacqueline Coley at Miss Bledder. How do you say it?
Miss Blurdis.
Miss Blurdis.
Yes.
Or at Black Nerd Girls.
Yeah, so I would just say follow me on Twitter and go to blackgirlnerds.com. We're official Rotten Tomatoes critics now, so it's really
Very well done.
Yeah.
Great work. You did it. You came, you
it.
fought.
Wow.
You won. Wow. All right, we'll have to have you back
For
now.
a first-time fighter, very impressive.
Dan Murrell on the couch.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Alicia Malone, for a great fight, and thank you. Tomorrow's Veterans Day, so thank you to our veterans. I have one at home that's very close to my heart. So yeah.
And congrats to Dan's new show with Alicia. First episode was great. It'll be
Thank
back
you.
Mondays at 4 p.m.
Yes, absolutely.
Excited for that. Alina, thank you for coming. You saw an amazing show today. Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you for coming. I did tease big news. I was sort of faking that because I was trying to psych Dan out to give a nice tease at the start. But I will say there is news coming, I will say, about our fan fights. Stay tuned. Ding. That's it, everybody. I'm going to leave you on a tease. Bye-bye.
That means, wow.
Every podcast we put on YouTube comes with this kick-ass graphic listing all the topics your favorite Screen Junkies podcasters are talking about. If you click the topics, you can skip around and choose your own podcast battle royale. Go ahead, try them all. If you haven't already, subscribe to Screen Junkies on YouTube to join us for future fights. Or if you prefer to listen on iTunes, click the logo to download an audio version.